All right, what is going on, everybody? We got some basketball to talk about. We're going to talk about the 76ers in New York to play the Knicks. The final score, Knicks 110, Philadelphia 105. This was a surprisingly interesting game. We're going to talk about the game, get into the numbers and everything. We're also going to talk about some other stuff that happened before the game, surrounding the Sixers, just some small stuff. If you like what I have to say, like the video. If you have your own opinions, comment them down below. And if you just like the vibes, consider subscribing. I am a tad bit congested, so sorry if I sound a little bit weird. But we're going to power through. We're going to keep this a little short, hopefully. So we're talking about one game. Um, so we don't have to go too crazy. I don't have to strain my voice too much. But I do want to talk about um, what happened this game. But first, let's talk about Joel Embiid. Joel Embiid did not play this game. He is getting his knee looked at again. He I believe it was reported that he got an MRI on Monday. Um, so he is sorting through the options because it was reported before the MRI on Monday that the stuff that he's been trying to do to play through all this season, this hasn't been working. Injections, whatever medical thing you can do for a messed up knee, he's been trying and it's just not working. Um, I heard that they are considering him and the Sixers are considering an experimental surgery where they break your hip and they try to realign your knee with your hip. However, I forget the exact thing, but that sounds gruesome. I hope it doesn't come to that for Joel, but it's looking like his his knee is just messed up and it's not gonna get right again, and he probably won't be right for the rest of his NBA career. I believe he is on the back end of or the middle end of 30. So let me see. I can pull up his age right now. Don't have to guess. He's early 30s. He moves like he's he's mid 30s. Um, Poor guy. Did not play last night. Sorting through the options, like I said. Um, this to me sounds like if they find a solution that does involve surgery and it gets cleared by the Sixers and everything, and Joel thinks it's a good idea, they'll just shut him down for the season and let him rest and such and recover from this injury. Um, and I was watching I saw something on Twitter yesterday, and they were playing clips of Joel, and I forgot Joel injured his knee against the Warriors last year, and to be honest, it was a pretty like gruesome injury. Like he fell or somebody fell on him, and it just looked bad. And in the moment, you're like, "Oh, it's a knee injury. He'll be okay." I don't know. I don't, even in the moment, I didn't really think about it just because he's been injured all the time. But like that might have been a career altering injury because your knee, your hips, your back, your ankles can only take so much, especially a guy at his size. It can only take so much. Um, and This might be the beginning of the end for Joel Embiid, and I hope he can get back to some form of the old Joel, but he's just not moving right. He hasn't moved right all year. He looks slow. At times he just looks unengaged, and that's not his fault. He's just laboring. Like he's trying to focus. Like you can't really focus on a basketball game when you're just laboring all the time. You're just jogging. He's not even running anymore. He's just jogging up the floor. He's tired. Like I get it. Um, but it just looks he just don't look right. I think they should just shut him down. Um, I do want to talk about another Sixer who has some drama going on. Um, Paul George, the 76ers forward, um, also known as Playoff P, also known as George Paul, um, also known as Podcast P, for his somewhat successful podcast that he's still been doing throughout this season. He decided to pull the plug on his podcast at least for the remainder of the season. I did watch the clip. of him announcing this. And again, I'm not the biggest Paul George fan. I don't have anything wrong. I don't have anything against him as a person. I just think as a player, he's just one of the most overrated players of this this era of basketball. But you have to feel bad for the guy sometimes. I can't kick a guy when he's down, really. Um, the Sixers have lost, let's see, one, two, three, four, five, six, seven, eight, nine. 9 in a row. They play the Warriors on Saturday, make that 10 losses in a row. And then the rest of the season sort of up and down here and there. Some contenders, some not so good playoff teams, some non playoff teams. Um, they are 20 and 38. And he said, "Yeah, I'm just gonna shut it down. I want to focus on my mental. I want to focus on doing what I came here to do when I signed in the off season, and that's try to win a championship for Philadelphia." His words, not mine. I think it's a little late for that, Paul. I think it's a little late for that. Um, I think maybe you probably should have shut it down. Maybe beginning of January because you had a similar losing streak. There's a 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 game losing streak in here. It's a little late for that, Paul. It's a little late to even contend for the playoffs. Teams are talking about the Sixers getting the number one pick and drafting the Duke star Cooper Flag. I don't want to dunk on Paul too much, but he just always comes off as like he. I will give him this though. He is taking responsibility. I think if this was his decision or the Sixers told him, "Hey, cut the podcast for now," I will give him credit. He didn't just end it. He got on the mic. He looked in the camera and said, "This is over for right now. I have to focus on my real job, my 9 to 5, not my hobby." And I I commend him in a way. He did play by this year's standard, by this season's standard. He had one of his best games, and he had one of his best halves last night in the second half of this Knicks game. But I think I my thought has always been, who does Paul George think he is? Um, I don't know who Paul George thinks he is. Paul George hasn't really done much in his NBA career, especially on the back half. His last great bit of basketball was pre the NBA bubble, and it was even in Oklahoma City, where he spent a majority, not majority, a small part of his career, but the last major bit of his prime was in Oklahoma City when he was MVP Paul George, and then he continued to stink it up and get bounced, and then went to the Clippers, and then it didn't work out with the Clippers, and now he's in Philadelphia, and we'll save all that for the end of the season when I can really dive into it. But I do commend Paul for shutting the podcast down for now and trying to focus on the rest of the season and try to, I don't know, make this record look somewhat respectable because you're 28 and 38. If you can get 10 more wins, that makes you like 30 and 40 something, 50 something. I guess it would look respectable. It'd look better. But I think there's some other things at play that we'll talk about in a later video at the end of the season. Dive right into it. But let's talk about this game because I do want to give Paul George his credit for this game in particular. Um, he had I don't even want to say a vintage Paul George performance. He played like an NBA player for the first time this season. He had 25 points, 3 steals, 7 assists, 8 rebounds. Shot the three ball pretty well, 4 of 9. The overall field goal isn't the prettiest. It's 9 of 20. He had 7 turnovers as well, and he had a couple fouls, 3 personal fouls. But in the second half, that's when he really turned it up. I was really pleased with his performance in the second half, and he just seemed more comfortable out there. I don't know what it was that night. I don't know if he just didn't have to think about anything. He's just like, I want to turn the ship around, or at least try to turn the ship around. And the guys that came along with him last night were Tyrese Maxey with 30 points, did not make a three, took 32 shots and made 12 of them. That's a Tyrese Maxey performance trying to get a win. Um, not the best efficiency, but had 30 points. Kelly Oubre Jr. Um, really good game, 27 points, 4 of 6 from three, 9 of 14. Um, when I was watching this game, I was like, damn, Kelly Oubre is gonna get paid, right? Because he's on a $7 million contract right now. Or he's on a $16 million contract. He makes 7 million this year and 8 million next year. Pardon me. Um, and then I looked it up this morning, and he's on the hook for one more year. Now, if the Sixers keep him, can he duplicate this year and get paid in 26, 27, 2026, 2027, or is he going to regress? I don't know. I mean, uh, he's 29, so he'll be 30, 30. No, yeah, no, he'll be, yeah, he'll be 30. He'll be turning 31 during the season in 2026, 2027. So he'll be early 30s. Could he duplicate this season? I don't know. But this is one of Kelly Oubre's best seasons as like a role player. Let me pull up his basketball reference real quick because Kelly Oubre's been on a journey, man. He's been on a crazy journey. He started in Washington, and then he revived the vibes just like overall in Phoenix. Even though he was only there for 2 years, feels like he was there for 3 years. Is it 3 years? And then he was in Golden State, played like garbage. Then he was in Charlotte, he played okay. He was a 20-point scorer in Charlotte, and then he's been in Philly, and he's his scoring is down in Philly, but um, his scoring's down. But I feel like he's just doing it so much more like in rhythm and with purpose. And I'm gonna look at the efficiency right now. It's not the best efficiency, but it's about 3 percentiles worse. Or let me make sure I'm seeing that right. Yeah, it's about 3 percentiles worse than his career average in 3 point percentage, which is 32. He's down to 28 this season, and his 2 point percentage is very high. It's very. I think is this the high? It's the second highest of his career, 55. He was 57 in his first year in Charlotte. So he's getting it where he can get it, and I'll tip my hat to Kelly Oubre. The other guys that played, Andre Drummond 7 points, 9 rebounds. Andre's just out there absorbing the center minutes. Quentin Grimes at three. I'm a big Quentin Grimes fan. I just don't know if he fits with this Philly team and what's going on. But I rather him be in Philly than sorry, I'm plugging my computer in. Be in Philly than be in Dallas right now because Dallas is sort of a weird spot to be in. But I guess Philly's a weird spot to be in too. But at least you know you're not making the playoffs and you're gonna get a full off season off. So let's see. And I will say this also. Shout out Lonnie Walker as well. Lonnie Walker back in the NBA. I was really high on him off the draft. In the draft, that was so long ago at this point. But he's back in the NBA. Played 11 minutes last night, 2 points. Um, Nobody else really showed up. They're really the Sixers are really they're really short on bodies. um, but I will say I have never doubted their coach, Coach Nick Nurse. I I think Nick Nurse isn't the problem. I just think the team. I think the team as currently constructed isn't a great team. I think if you take a step back and try to look at it through the lens of the beginning of the season, a healthy Joel Embiid, a healthy Paul George, this team has a lot of gritty guys. They have a lot of gritty guys. They have a lot of guys who really want it. Um, and I think in a vacuum, this team would have worked. But with Paul George having a shitty year, with Joel Embiid not being healthy, with Jared, the rookie this year, Jared McCain getting injured, not returning this season, Tyrese Maxey being in and out, being inefficient this year as well. It feels like every game I look at him, I look at Tyrese Maxey's box score. It's just huge amounts of shot chucking and huge amounts of just almost forcing it. Because he's a competitor, I'll give him that, but it's not looking good for his percentages and his numbers. He did have 30 again last night, but man, it's a tough pill to swallow, and I think you can't really convince yourself to keep any of this process around in the sense of it's really hard to talk yourself into keeping Paul George if you can get anything for him this offseason. It's really hard to think about keeping Joel Embiid long term. And it's really tough to keep Nick Nurse because Nick Nurse is a I think I know he came here and he wanted to win a championship and this team has just underperformed and he's trying to squeeze as much as he can out of these guys, but oh man, it's just hard. It's hard. It's hard at times. Um, let's move on to the Knicks real quick. Nothing going on with the Knicks much. Karl Anthony Towns did not play this game. He has a left knee injury. Um, Nevertheless, oh my god, how do you say that name? Okay. I'm looking at this name on the Knicks, and I've never seen this man's name in my life. um, but for the Knicks, Jalen Brunson, 34 points. He really cleaned it up. He got the Sixers out of there in the fourth quarter, very late in the fourth. He went on a 12-point run by himself, I think it was. Yeah, I think that was the number. Mikal Bridges helped out throughout the game with 28. They combined for 60 something points, I believe. OG Anunoby out there with 16. Josh Hart out there with 17 boards, 4 assists, 1 steal, 1 block. And Ariel, jeez, I don't know how to say that name. Number 55 on the Knicks. I don't even know how to say that name. And I didn't have the volume on last night, so I don't know how to pronounce it. 8 points, 20. I almost said 24 rebounds, 2 rebounds. Pretty good night. And as this Knicks team does, this bench really didn't get a lot of run. The only guy off the bench to get a lot of run was Precious Achua. 7 points, 6 rebounds, in 31 minutes. Pretty good stuff for them. I was slightly concerned that they might lose this game, but then Jalen Brunson showed up in the fourth, and I was like, oh yeah, that's why they're not losing to this team. We can look at some team stats very quickly. Um, Nobody shot the 3 point well. Knicks shot at about 4 percentiles better, 36 to the 76ers 32. The 76ers shot the free throw 1% better, even though the Knicks shot 9 more free throws at 29, and the 76ers shot 20. Um, Sixers had more steals. That tracks. Um, had less blocks. Um, the Knicks had more fast break points. The Knicks had more points in the paint. And the 76ers had more fouls. And the biggest lead for the Knicks was 19. So yeah, that's it. That is the video. I feel so weird to say, but that's the video. That's all we have to talk about. This was an entertaining game. Um, the Sixers are such an interesting situation, and the Knicks are becoming an interesting situation as well. Because people don't seem to buy what they're selling, and I'm not sure where I stand on that, but I think I think if it breaks the right way, the Knicks the Knicks could still get to the conference finals. I don't know if they stay where they stay, they're gonna have to play the Celtics. If they stay in that half of the bracket, the thing is, you want to keep winning and you want to stay on that half of the bracket. And I'm not saying you should. I'm never a proponent of trying to avoid a team in the playoffs. Just play the team in front of you. You know, if you know it, if you know that's coming down the pipeline, you know you're gonna have to play the Boston Celtics in the second round. Just do it. You know, don't try to get to the other side of the bracket and try to avoid them because that is always bad too. But I'm not as concerned as a lot of people, even though I've watched a lot of those games and seen the Celtics absolutely dismantle the Knicks. Mitchell Robinson is going to come back. I'm not the biggest Mitchell Robinson fan. I'm not sure he makes that much of a difference because what the Celtics do is just so. I don't even say I don't want to make them sound like they're just the best basketball team ever, but it's just like so simple, simply high IQ, and there's a lot of movement. And Mitchell Robinson is such a dull player. I don't see him making a difference, but maybe I'm wrong. And the Sixers are just the Sixers at this point, and um, we'll see what happens with them. There's always like every other week, there's something coming out about them, so they're always fun to talk about. Um, and I'll make a full deep dive on this season at the end of the season. We're coming towards the end of it here, so I'll try to hold that one in and see where they finally stand. But yeah, thank you for watching. Thank you for listening. Like, comment, subscribe, all that good stuff. Um, I guess I should probably let me see. I should probably give you guys my picks for the rest of the week. Let me see here. Uh, Let me give you guys my picks for the rest of the week because today is Thursday. Yeah, so we have to. I only do Wednesday's games up until Wednesday's games on Monday. So you have Denver and Milwaukee. I don't have the injury report pulled up, so this is just off the dome. Give me Denver. Give me Denver. I like Denver. Cleveland at Boston. Oof, oof. Ooh, I want to say this might be the last time they're seeing each other. Here, let me see. If this is the last time, and Boston lost to the Pistons last night as well. I was gonna pick the Pistons to win that game too, and I didn't. Uh, yes, this is the last time they'll see each other till the playoffs. And with Boston losing to the Pistons, and that's always gonna light a fire under your ass. Uh, Give me Boston. I think it's gonna be a close game. That's not gonna be a blowout. You got the Battle of LA, Clippers versus Lakers. Ah, give me the Clippers. Give me the Clippers. I think the Clippers just have that much, just a little bit more size, and they also have Ben Simmons, uh, which sounds like a joke, but I've always liked Ben Simmons' defense, so I'll give him that. I think they'll probably stick him on Luka for a majority of this game, that game. Um, Golden State at Philly, like I said, give me Golden State. They've been on a roll. It's also Jimmy's former team. So yeah, give me the Warriors. We'll do Sunday's games as well. Um, there's a bunch of games on Sunday. There's 3 games on Sunday. Damn. You have Denver in Boston. Give me Denver. I think Denver. I think if Denver can um, win against Milwaukee, they'll win against Boston too. Um, Way to go, way to go, way to go. There it is. Give me okay. So we got Oklahoma in San Antonio. Give me Oklahoma. And the last one here for the week until we jump in the next week, Minnesota in Phoenix. Give me Minnesota. Those are my picks for the rest of the week. And we'll see what happens. Thank you guys for watching. I will see you all tomorrow. I will. I do have a couple videos planned, so you'll get an influx of content this weekend as well. So keep your eyes out. Thank you for watching. I'll see you next time. Cheers.